Hello, good crowd. I am so excited to be with John Brennick, the co-founder of CaringCrowd, Johnson and Johnson guru, great guy, our sponsor for the last 2 years. We're thrilled to have him here as we wrap up the show and put this to bed. One of our final 50 episodes. In fact, I think this will be one of our final 2 episodes. We're so grateful for John. Stick around. You don't want to miss this episode.
Welcome to the Your Mark on the World show with your champion of social good, Devin D. Thorpe.
Our sponsor, Johnson & Johnson, matches most individual donations up to $250 at CaringCrowd.org. John, welcome back to the show.
Thanks. It's bittersweet to be back.
Yes, well, John, you've been on many times, and we're glad to have you back one last time. We're so grateful for the years of support that you provided, making the show possible. We've been working together for a long time, and I'm grateful for our association and the good work that you're doing.
And I'm honored to be I've been in a role to be able to play a small part in your good work in highlighting all these social impact heroes.
Well, thank you, John. And what we've seen over the years is that some of the most impactful, some of the most amazing people that we've had on the show have been people who are raising money on CaringCrowd. I think about Stephanie and her and Jake's diapers. How much has she raised now on CaringCrowd? $500,000 or something?
It's getting there. Yeah. Something like that.
Tons and tons of money. And she's kind of, I think, learned some of the secrets, right? She's kind of figured out that one of the keys is to have the project really lined up perfectly with the funding needs, right? So that the campaign matches the project well. So when she needs $5,000 for something, she raises $5,000, and when she needs $50,000, she raises 50, right?
Yes, and she pulls out a lot of classic fundraising tools to augment the online CaringCrowd tool and templates that we provide. And she's also given great input to our own guide that we give first-time users on CaringCrowd to help ensure that they succeed. And so one of the insights from her that confirmed what we were thinking was that as you get closer to your minimum funding goal, the pledges just come in more easily. People want to help. So that reinforced and added to the guide that we give our users to map and plan their strategy for their campaign, not only the art of setting the minimum funding goal, but that whole plan of starting publishing when you have helpers there ready to back in the first 48 hours to provide that starting momentum, have that plan to get over 50%. And as Stephanie and others have related, once you get over 50%, people just want to help you get to that minimum funding goal, and you yourself redouble your efforts. And there's all that social validation, all these other people who have pledged. And this formula is, I think, one of the most important aspects to CaringCrowd having over the past 2 years an 85% campaign success rate.
Wow. Let's talk about that a little bit. 85% success rate. I think when you say that, you mean that 85% of the time, the fundraisers on CaringCrowd reach their goal. Is that what you mean by that?
Yes. So there's a minimum funding goal that you set and you have to reach, or the pledges are canceled. And that sounds harsh, but you can turn that around. As you get closer to the minimum funding goal, you can say to your supporters and to new supporters, look, we're almost there, but we do have to reach that goal or we have to start over. So do you want to help? And I can tell you so many stories, including about myself, when I see people getting close to the goal, seeing campaigns getting close to the goal, not intending, just looking, not intending to donate anything, but oh my God, I have to be the hero. Or there was one person who heard about CaringCrowd, met her later. She said she went on the site just to check it out. There was one campaign that was one day away, needed $400 more. So she said, I had no intention of doing anything, but I had to be the hero to put them over the top. So that's an example of how you can leverage the formula.
Yeah, it really is compelling. One of the great things that Johnson & Johnson has been doing with CaringCrowd over the years is to match so many of the donations. Tell us how that works.
So the department I'm in at Johnson & Johnson is incredible. It's called Global Public Health, and they work in mostly developing areas and other resource-constrained settings. Most of my colleagues are focused on the technologies like the drug-resistant tuberculosis medicine and partnering to make sure it gets to the right people and taken the right way. And but fortunately, they, when CaringCrowd was, when we proposed CaringCrowd, when the Global Public Health Department was starting, we were able to get an enthusiastic yes response and funding. So we have a budget, and we take a good part of that budget and put it towards matching funds. So if you have a campaign and I pledge $100 while matching funds are available, $200 appears added to the running total on your project page.
Wow. So it really is a powerful tool. Now, every fundraiser I've talked to that has raised money on CaringCrowd says that they have been able to participate in the match. No one has said that they somehow missed it.
Yeah.
They all got it. So usually what I'm hearing is about 35 to 40% of their total funds raised came from Johnson & Johnson, which is remarkable. J&J's almost cutting in half the work that they need to do to raise money via CaringCrowd. It's really quite remarkable. Now, one of the tricks of CaringCrowd is getting approved. You have a group of experts who screen every project before it can go live on the website. Tell us about that process.
Yes, of course, this is healthcare, and this is Johnson & Johnson, so not just anyone can get on the site, but I help make sure that you frame the project the right way to highlight the health aspects, for example. And we have a fantastic group of public health professors who are volunteering their own time, and of course they're independent, and they look at every project, and they also give feedback, suggestions, and comments, so they can be a help. And in the process, you are also showing your project and your nonprofit to these public health professors, so that's a good thing. And we also have a company, an outside company, that checks out the 501c3 status. Well, anyone that a nonprofit allows can raise funds for a health-related project. The funds raised are set up that they have to go to the nonprofit's bank account. So this whole curation and these safeguards turn into another benefit of using CaringCrowd, whether you're a volunteer helping a nonprofit fund a project, or whether you are part of a nonprofit. You can take the fact that you passed these reviews to get onto this Johnson & Johnson platform and communicate that to your donors. Some nonprofits have told me that even their long-term existing supporters, donors, were impressed that they're trying something new, and they got onto this Johnson & Johnson platform, and they're raising awareness of the project and the nonprofit's mission to another audience. And we begin to develop relationships. So I feel there's a family that's growing. And I've learned so much, and I treasure these relationships and learning what they do and helping make their projects realities. And this is part of Johnson & Johnson Global Public Health's mission.
You hit on a key fact or two that I want to drill down on. First, you talk about being either a volunteer or an employee, and I think that is such an important observation, because some of the most successful campaigns on the platform have been led by volunteers who just wanted to do something good for a cause that meant something to them. They're not affiliated in any formal way with the nonprofit. They're just volunteers. And yet they've been very successful. Others, like Stephanie, run a nonprofit and they are having success. So either formula works well, right?
Yes, thanks for highlighting that. So I think there's a huge potential out there of volunteers leveraging the CaringCrowd platform to make an impact on world health project by project. And we can match you to a nonprofit that's we've already become familiar with, or you can do some research, as many have, to find a worthy nonprofit that's doing the kind of project that they care about. And there are some who I talk to and say they just want to make an impact. I just want to make an impact, and I don't really care what health topic it is. So I share with them some projects ready to go. I show them a list of the nonprofits that have been on CaringCrowd, and they make their pick. And a couple of them are on the site right now, helping out the nonprofit make those projects a reality.
That's great. The other point that you made that I want to drill down on just a little bit is this idea of health outcomes versus health activities, and what qualifies. And, when we think of health, we think of drugs, nurses, doctors, medical equipment. But so much more than that can get funded. Like maybe the best example, we've talked about her already, is Stephanie, right? She's raised money for diapers. And yet that clearly has health benefits, but we don't think of that first tier. You've had a gun safety project successfully approved and successfully raised money on the project, gun safety. What are some of the things, how do the screeners, the experts think about global health in a way that allows for these somewhat non-traditional, non-health related things find their health outcomes?
Yeah. So the projects that at first glance may appear not to have a focus on health turn out to actually have significant potential health outcomes. So I remember early on, one of those that came early was a school for at-risk girls in rural Kenya. And they were asking, well, can we get on CaringCrowd, raising money for tuition, room and board, uniforms, books. And at first glance, I too was wondering, does this qualify? However, these are at-risk girls in rural Kenya. They're at risk significantly at risk. They're definitely not going to, this boarding school accepts young ladies who are definitely not going to be able to go to the equivalent of high school. And so that's, avoiding poverty, that has a huge health implication by itself. But there are more immediate health risks, and there was a nice long list of those, unfortunately. And so that turned out to be a slam dunk. And at first glance, it looked like it wouldn't qualify, but it was one of the most clearly qualifying projects ever. So when you're thinking about, does what I want to do fit for CaringCrowd? Don't try to guess. Just email help@CaringCrowd, and we will talk to you about it. We will help you point out where the health impacts are.
Now, fantastic. John, you have been at this for a while. When you think about this work, what are you most proud of having accomplished?
There's the excitement of being an entrepreneur and creating something new. But I think about the impact, of course. And we have an updates feature. So CaringCrowd allows you to communicate, be transparent. You can post pictures, you can embed videos, you post updates where we're adding a video feature to that, where you can embed a video even in the updates. And the first campaign ever to succeed on CaringCrowd was for HIV positive children in Zambia, a nonprofit that had put its nutrition program on hold because their current funders weren't interested in that. At least that's what I recall the story is. So they heard about CaringCrowd. We were doing some market research, and they said, well, you know what? We'd like to give it a go for this project because it's not being funded now. So why not try CaringCrowd? Fortunately, that was funded. And a few months later, an update was posted that still rocks my heart to this day, because it was a 6-year-old girl who had quickly responded to the program. She went from a less than 1% body mass index to, I think it was 78%. And this allowed her to tolerate her HIV medicine better. It enabled her to go to school more often. And you think about, okay, she was at such a low BMI. What if they hadn't gotten the funding for this program for another year? Would Gladys have made it? So it's stories like that. And by the way, these stories have been somewhat buried within the projects. You had to dig through them. So in a few weeks, we're going to have new release that unleashes this content. And we're going to have an impact page as well with an interactive map where you can explore the world and see where all the projects are, including many in the United States. And so to the nonprofits and even to the volunteer fundraisers who have their own stories, their own reasons for the cause that they're helping, or even talking about their fundraising campaign, we want to get those stories out there and build a community online and offline.
John, as you look back at all the campaigns you've seen, what is the key secret to success?
I think it's like with most things, doing what you love, a passion for making a difference, and then you will persevere and learn and get it done. And you can start small with a small funding goal, learn, and then possibly go bigger. But I don't think you need much more than that. That's probably the most important thing, because once you have that passion and drive, and even if you don't succeed the first time, if you keep trying and learn, and we're going to help you, I think the passion, yeah.
Fantastic. Well, John, why is this so important to you? You know, you're at this big corporate behemoth. Of all the things that you might have pursued, why this?
Well, you know, I've always wanted at least a byproduct of my work to benefit others, and so being in healthcare was important. And Johnson & Johnson has a credo that 130,000 people read and follow, and it's posted in every conference room and entrance to every building. So there's a pole star of goodness. And to do this, so I left my old job. I've been with Johnson & Johnson for 14 years now. So about 5 years ago, we had the idea, and I started working on it extra hours and transferred over to the Global Public Health Group to do this full time. So, you know, why did I leave my skill set and experience set to do this? Well, I just could not do it. It's just was too exciting to not do. And while beforehand I knew the impact I just knew the impact would be significant. That has meant so much, and to help and meet the people who are starting nonprofits, who are taking their own time and money to help the nonprofits projects become a reality. That is really the best part, getting to meet these people. And they are entrepreneurial, they are passionate, cause-driven, and the stories of why they're doing this are fascinating.
Yeah, that's great. Well, John, as you reflect on all this great work that you've done, uh, you must recognize something about yourself, a superpower that helps you to be effective. What would you describe as your superpower?
Well, what comes to mind is that passion. So I remember we ran into our vice president, and I just told him, I'm all in. I'm all in to do this CaringCrowd thing. So I may have given you some other superpowers in the past, but as I reflect on it during this conversation, I've learned something, I think. And I think I can confidently tell you that it's that enthusiasm, and other people have commented on it, that I will get enthusiastic about something and go for it.
Oh, that's great. Well, you do have great passion and enthusiasm. Well, John, thank you so much. I really can't thank you enough for the years of support, for the friendship we've built, for the financial support, the opportunity to work with you, for the great work that you're doing in the world, for the difference you're making, for all of those things. Thank you.
Likewise.
Before you go, would you take just a minute and tell people how they can learn more about CaringCrowd and how they can connect with you?
And thanks, Devin. I'll say in public, it's really been an honor to work with you and get to know you. And you too have, you could have gone back into banking, but you felt a need to do this. So hats off to you. Please email us at help@CaringCrowd, CaringCrowd.org, or go to www.caringcrowd.org and check it out. And you can see the contact us page and start a draft or pick a project and help them out a little bit.
Fantastic. Thanks. Well, John, again, thank you for all your great work, all the good that you do in the world, and for your time today. And we wish you every success in continuing to fund the projects that are doing the most good for global health around the world. We just want to see you be fabulously successful.
Amen. Thanks.
All right.
Take care.
Let's do some good.
Okay. Bye-bye.
At CaringCrowd, we believe everyone has the power to make a difference. Through our crowdfunding platform for community health, we empower passionate people to drive real change. Whether you work for a nonprofit organization, volunteer, or want to get involved for the first time, you can post a campaign on CaringCrowd. Join us, because caring is where change begins.
Thanks for tuning in to the Your Mark on the World show, the Social Impact Podcast. Please subscribe via YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, or Spotify.